Excellent. Thank you so much, Jeff, for amazing introduction. Welcome, everybody. Good morning. I'm really excited to be here, at least remotely, to connect with you. And I'm very happy that you have decided to join my session, Copilot Adoption 12 Lessons from 12 Months in the Field. That session is dedicated for people who are leading Copilot adoption projects. No matter if it's like a consulting work or it's your internal work, I hope that I'll be able to bring you some of my lessons, some of my reflections. My name is Edyta Gorzon. I'm working at Millennium as Copilot architect, and I'm in charge of shaping Copilot adoption. This session, I hope it's going to be kind of concrete. However, before we start, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Edyta. People in the community, they call me Eddie. If you wish to stay connected with me, you can scan the QR code that leads you to LinkedIn. A few words about my background. I come from the business side. I have started with Microsoft Technologies over 10 years ago, and I mostly focus on user adoption and the way how to drive technology to be beneficial for the business. Since 2019, I'm getting Microsoft MVP Award. Last year's it was mostly Teams and of course Teams adoption projects. Now we have a big switch and the area of Copilot. As well, if you've never been in Poland and you would like to visit our beautiful country, feel free to join CollabDays Poland. This is like a yearly event for modern work, for a power platform. So feel simply invited. I'll be glad to host you in Warsaw. All right, so let's move on. Let's start with some concrete stuff. Lesson number one, as I promised, there are going to be 12 lessons. So let's start with the very first lesson. First of all, like kind of reflection, if you wish to run a marathon with Copilot, make sure that you are ready. What do I mean by saying ready? While observing how customers are dealing with Copilot adoption in a better shape, in worse shape, starting adoption with Copilot Chat, starting adoption with Microsoft 365 Copilot, as well Copilot Studio, very often they start to wake up and see that, okay, the governance part is not really set it up as it should be. And every time when I see this situation, I can also remember the times when Microsoft Teams has been implemented 2019, 2020. You remember we have had the COVID times and all the companies wanted to stay connected. So they launched Microsoft Teams and they basically forgot about proper governance. And there were, of course, some issues related with some policies. Plenty of zombie teams afterwards, and users got frustrated. And now, when I'm working with customers who decided for Copilot, I can see that the governance topic becomes more and more important. Finally, because we should remember that without good technical readiness, which is meant not only having licenses but proper setup to drive Copilot, is crucial later to drive adoption. I don't call myself governance expert. However, if I were you, I would check what are your setups, what are your policies, all the configurations around Microsoft 365 Admin Center with this dedicated Copilot control system, how SharePoint Admin Center is configured. You also can benefit from SharePoint Advanced Management, Teams Admin Center. So basically, yeah, I'm not a governance person, but I would rather take care of data classification, any sensitivity labels, DLP policies when we're talking about Microsoft Purview, and of course Power Platform Admin Center, just to avoid future oversharing and issues with Copilot. So if you are driving Copilot adoption now, please make sure that those parts are also covered to avoid future problems. Okay, the very second lesson that it's kind of interesting, I would say. Do users are using Microsoft 365 right? If not, better stop and readopt. When I'm talking with clients, we start to think about good adoption plan for Copilot. And then more and more questions are appearing in regards Microsoft 365 adoption itself. Quite often, I still can see that Teams adoption is not good, right, as it should be. People, they are still using mostly chat for communication and collaboration. They're anyhow skipping Teams for that, or they simply stick to Outlook for internal communication. There is also not real understanding of using OneDrive or OneNote or SharePoint by the users. And basically, in my eyes, it's really hard to show the real power of Copilot, especially when the basic apps from Microsoft 365 are not adopted in the right way. On the left-hand side, you can see quite long text, but basically, this is like a situation I have experienced with one of my customers who wanted to drive Microsoft 365 Copilot adoption. And as you can see, I was asking a few questions. Okay, how does it look in regards to Microsoft 365 as it is? And yeah, they simply figure out that the adoption, it's not as expected. While having those kind of problems, I would suggest you to stop for a moment, breathe, and think about having a little bit readoption activities around Microsoft 365, and then adding Copilot adoption on the site. So this is a time to rethink as well processes, but of course the usage of the applications we already have in place. I'm saying that Microsoft 365 it's like a soil and Copilot is a tree, and it's hard to build up something on the soil which doesn't exist. So tree will not survive. All right. So very next lesson. Interesting. Again, kind of observation from the person who is working as consultant. One Copilot adoption project scope. I'm sorry, but nope. This is very challenging because we all know that Microsoft Copilot is exploding. We are getting new agents, we are getting new features. So recently, Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat is rolling out in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, OneNote for all the users with no, additional license required. We recently also, it was like 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, Knowledge Agent in SharePoint or Copilot Studio Lite version and full experience. So everything it's changing all the time. And in my eyes, it's really hard to stick to one scope of work. If you are dealing now with preparing adoption plan for a Copilot rollout, please be patient and please leave some buffer in your scope to make sure that you are able to adjust your plan accordingly. I remember once during one of the workshops, the agents menu first was on the right, then it switched to the left, and we were a little bit surprised what has happened. But yeah, this is a case. No matter how great your scope is, please remember that adjustments going to be very important because it's all about the user experience and giving them the latest information and the latest introduction to Copilot experience. Another lessons, lesson number 4, the one which is really crucial. The fact that if we're talking about Microsoft 365 Copilot and we're talking about productivity, we should remember that features are not driving users, but valuable cases are. We are talking mostly with business. Copilot should bring the value for business users, but we shouldn't expect from them that they will be extremely excited about every minor feature that makes us excited. I mean, makes us people who are interested in technology. So when you plan workshop or training, make sure that the training content is relevant to specific personas, to specific departments, and focus on the use cases. So do not present like Copilot feature in Teams, then Copilot feature in, I don't know, Word. Think about the processes. To have like a process step by step to show how Copilot can bring the value to the table. How to do it? So basically, spend more time to understand the processes and struggles. I would suggest to organize such a meeting with, let's say, customer service department or legal or human resources department to understand what kind of applications from Microsoft 365 they're using, what kind of expectations from Copilot do they have, and where they spend the most time, where Copilot can help to speed up the work as well, quality of their work. You can also send surveys in Microsoft Forms while asking specific departments, okay, what are your KPIs? What are your processes? Which applications from Microsoft 365 ecosystem are the commonly used in your department? As well, what are the blockers? Just to understand if maybe there is a space to improve some processes on the way during adoption project. Uh, We can also, of course, inspire people how to use Copilot. So you can prepare like dedicated content from Microsoft resources to check what's possible for all of these functions. Microsoft is, of course, supporting us with plenty of different materials. But basically, this is a time to understand how people are working. If you understand, then, of course, the training and the workshops going to be very valuable for your audience. The last bullet point, do not rely only on built-in reports. Of course, they are great. We can see them in Microsoft 365 Admin Center. We have Viva Insights. We have some flavors from the Purview. But still, I would not skip that interaction in regards expectations from the users. What are the processes and what are the scenarios as a base for training? Lesson number 5. This is a minor extension of the previous lesson. Custom your Copilot training work on realistic materials. I know that we come from a technical world and we try to combine these two sides. And what I can see as a big blocker, but never said out loud, is the fact that we are presenting what Copilot can, let's say, in Word, in PowerPoint, in Excel, and so on. But we don't take the real materials from the department. So let's say that we have marketing team and we're going to lead a training with the process for this specific marketing people, but we are presenting the process in any irrelevant files. So what I would suggest you to ask before the training your group of users to get from them any materials they work on them on a daily basis. So if I have any marketing presentation or any Excel file from the finance department, then I can show how Copilot can support people who are working on this specific file. This is like first impression. So we should remember that first impression is a thing and it really works the same with the tools. If the users, they see their specific case plus the files they know on daily basis, they are basically very excited, even during the training, to try out how do they work. And you get their attention as well. And of course, the questions to avoid, the training when you are just speaking and people are doing different times in the meantime. So very small customization that really does the job. All right, lesson number 6. Start with baby steps. Select the most basic Microsoft 365 applications as first. On the right-hand side, probably many of you already had a chance to see that Wheel of Fortune by Kirsty McGrath. Kirsty is collecting the information where a Copilot is in place, in which parts from the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. And we see that Copilot is almost everywhere. So in the second inner wheel, we have Copilot icon, and it might bring some confusions if we decide to lead training and workshop covering every sweet spot, every feature in every app. So what I'm doing, and I see as a good approach is prioritizing the Microsoft 365 apps that are most frequently used in your organization. Probably it's going to be Teams, it's going to be Outlook, Office 365, and then explore and present a lot of flavors, a lot of tricks and tips, how those apps are powerful thanks to Copilot. I know it's exciting to present all the sweet spots and everything. However, again, from the user perspective, who wants to use technology that brings value, we should keep that user mindset and user needs as first. Okay, lesson number 7, very interesting one. Everybody knows, no one knows. It's all about never skipping prompting workshops. Interesting situation. I remember one of the conversations with the customer who came to me and said, you know what, we've been trying with Copilot, we did some kind of adoption activities. So we have had different type of trainings, different type of inspiration sessions. We have had this wow effect, but when the users, they start to use Copilot on daily basis, they have noticed that it's not that good as they expected, and it doesn't bring that much good results from the prompting. So basically, something was cracking. And I remember that in that conversation with the customer, I asked them, okay, so have you had like prompting workshop? And of course, the answer was no. So we shouldn't assume that people, they know how to prompt, even if they used other models for personal use. We should cover that part very, very strongly. First of all, we should remember that being skilled at prompting, it doesn't happen like instantly. This is something what we must learn. This is like a new skill. And of course, it requires some experimenting, some learning from mistakes. I would say that also it's important to teach users what's the best prompt. So what are the ingredients of this prompt, and let them repeat those prompts during the workshop. By purpose, I'm saying workshop because I don't believe that prompting as a training or as a presentation is something what is valuable for the users. From my experience, it's better to have like a real workshop when people are make their hands dirty. You can also give them some realistic examples of prompting that are solid and they consist all the ingredients. That's why, in my eyes, without prompting workshop, we basically cannot expect from the users that they will know how to use Copilot in the right way. Of course, we can also assist ourselves in a Copilot prompt gallery to show them, yeah, this is a place where you can inspire yourself if you are going to practice prompting in the future. And we also have prompt code, so it would be good to have it enabled in your organization just to support users after hours, so after the workshop later on. Yeah, so please remember, extremely important, maybe sometimes even important than other activities. The lesson number 8. Well, I'm speaking too fast. I don't know what's happening. Lesson number 8, communication is a queen, effective communication is a king. Okay, so that part very often is skipped. No matter now if I'm talking about Copilot or Microsoft Teams, anyhow, we forget about proper communication, and we should remember that communication simply drives people, and people drive companies. Therefore, having like a strong communication plan is something what you should be aware of. First of all, identify the communication channels. Ask communication department, make sure which of them are the most consumed. Normally, there is, in most cases, email communication, Teams, intranet, maybe something in Viva. And later define receivers and senders. While talking about receivers, I mean different groups, because we have, of course, users, but we can also have like a group of champions. Stakeholders. So make sure that you have those roles in place, and very similar with the senders. So who is sending the message? Sometimes it's going to be like a project team. Sometimes to highlight the importance of Copilot implementation, it will be the stakeholder. So having those roles and defined specific type of content assigned to specific role and receiver is extremely important. As well, communication type. So of course, mostly customers are selecting like a written format, but I would also encourage you to rethink about the short videos. This is something what brings communication content type on the next level. As well, some companies, they do some swag, some posters, some physical things to highlight the excitement and the hype around Copilot implementation. Of course, having schedule and timing, I do it normally like an Excel file. So I have the content type, the dates, the senders, the receivers, and so that. But with this part, again, it's a tricky part, because as we remember from the third point, yeah, that was the third point, if I'm not mistaken, Microsoft Copilot is extremely evolving. So again, we have to have here like a gap for ad hoc information to be sent to the users to make sure that they understand that something has changed or something has been enriched. Dedicated space for daily communication. If you don't have such a space, it could be like a team in Teams. This is something what really makes sense. People, if they start experimenting, they start to have questions. What is good, because it means that they are excited, they are engaged. And of course, even Q&A sessions in Teams as a like a bi-weekly or weekly meeting to make sure that they have a place as well, the space for open discussion. If you don't know from where this communication should be taken, because this is also the question that I'm getting quite often, I strongly encourage you to visit Microsoft 365 Copilot adoption website. So it's adoption.microsoft.com. And there are plenty of different materials, like the one which you see on the right-hand side. You can tweak it nicely with your logo, with your some extra content, and so you are not staying alone. Benefit out from materials, because very often this is a place where we don't really check. Okay. Lesson number 9. So again, training users once isn't sufficient. Most will go back to their old habits, especially when they got used to use like ChatGPT, Gemini, and so we really have to be motivated in our adoption activities to do not let them to use all other models, of course, besides security and but this is something what might be also challenging. But we should remember that Copilot adoption project, first of all, it's not only about preparing users how to use the new tool, but also like shifting their mind and experimenting independently. So besides trainings, we are as adoption experts responsible for reinforcement all of those habits, because adoption is never over. I mean, when we end up the project, it's not the end of the journey. It's like a constant boosting and buzzing. Therefore, having Copilot community in place. If we had a place before or during the adoption project that was important for communication, for collaboration, for exchanging the ideas, this community should stay alive. It would be good to have champions who are constantly sharing the ideas, motivating the others to try out new Copilot scenarios, new Copilot agents, whatever. Then monthly WhatsApp, what's new sessions. So yeah, as I mentioned before, Copilot is evolving. So having those kind of sessions, dedicated sessions once a month or once per 2 weeks, this is something what should be also considered. As well, different types of tips and tricks. I'm not saying that this might be like super long session, but kind of constant boosting just to reinforce those habits. And of course, sharing success stories and all the practical examples, because at the beginning, we have defined some scenarios. We have led some trainings for different personas, for different groups of people, for different departments. But over the time, we're going to have more of those success stories, no matter if we're talking about agents or simply using Microsoft 365 Copilot. This part should be also fulfilled. And as well, Q&A sessions. So as we had before, now it's good to keep them alive. I know that it's a lot, but in the same time, if we are investing this magic $30 per user per month, we would expect ROI, and that ROI, of course, will be on the good level if we reinforce those new habits, these new ways of working by business people. Okay. Another observation that it's kind of interesting, that Microsoft 365 Copilot chat. I see the tendency when customers want to drive adoption, very often they focus super strongly on Microsoft 365 Copilot paid version, but anyhow, they forget to mention something about chat, so about Copilot chat. And we should remember that this solution also requires an adoption plan, especially when I hear I can see Copilot icon here. I can see Copilot icon there, and I'm a little bit lost. What should I do? So as we all know, Copilot Chat is included with no additional costs with the Microsoft 365 Business subscription you are using at work, and now we're getting more and more features in Microsoft like Office 365. So please also find in your adoption project space for those people who don't have premium licenses, to educate them, to let them collaborate and show them what really Copilot Chat can do. As well, this is your responsibility to convince them to use Copilot, because we know that your data is protected when you are using Copilot, so no accidental leaks or something like that. If the people are they don't know how what Copilot chat can and what are the capabilities, what are the limitations, and so that then it's hard to talk about the real Copilot adoption. And this is a fact. So I don't know many customers who bought entirely premium licenses. Mostly those licenses are dedicated for managers or a very specific group of people. The rest simply staying with Copilot Chat, and it's not even aware what it can and how it works. Okay. Then we have another part, like Copilot learning habits, like building Copilot culture for upskilling in your organization. When we end up an adoption project, there is always a question, what's next? So you saw that it's like a constant reinforcement, but what are the potential good methods to keep users updated in a different way? So first of all, we should remember that Copilot is here. There is no way back. It's going to stay, it's going to develop. First of all, users should be aware of that, but they also should feel motivated to educate themselves, besides everything what we have done during our adoption project. And as we hear, probably everybody on this call know that there is Microsoft Learn, there are different type of courses, but trust me, a business doesn't. Especially when it's like a different industry than ours, people, they don't know that Microsoft Learn exists. And if they know, probably they think that this is something for deep technical knowledge and it's better to do not touch this. So spread a word, spread communication about Microsoft Learn. There are really nice courses. One of those is like a screenshot, edit and transform content with Microsoft 365 Copilot. You see there is a beginner, business users. So basically everybody in your organization has a right to use Microsoft Learn. But they must know that this is something what exists. In regards trainings, there is also the good practice. Besides this, creating culture for upskilling, also making some mandatory, obligatory basic trainings from Copilot to present what is this and what are the capabilities. I think that very soon it's going to be like a new reality for all of us. Yeah, lesson number 12. Of course, I'm a change manager, so I had to put this this lesson during the session. So change management and enablement are the key to success. And according to ProSci, successful technology adoption is like 80% people and processes, but only 20% is technology. So we should address all the fears You all probably know this resistance to change. AI will replace job and will change my life, and I don't want to use it because I don't trust it. Trust me, I really have heard those kind of opinion from the users. Therefore, in the entire adoption strategy, we should address those kind of concerns. First of all, to let employees understand why Copilot has been introduced. Of course, what is this, why it's secure, but what kind of problems it solves and how we can benefit out of them. It's not only, I don't like this communication that you're going to be more productive. When I hear that I must be more productive, sometimes my head is exploding because it means that I have to do even more during my 8-hour working day. Therefore, I would rather suggest you to communicate, like Copilot help you to do your job in a better quality. If you have some issues with, I don't know, translating the things or summarizing the things, this is the benefit, but it's not going to be, make you very more productive. Maybe it's a little bit on the edge when I'm saying this, but I see that users want to hear that they're gonna be more confident. They're gonna be a more um, the way how they work, the boring task is going to be reduced. This is something what we should have in mind. So first of all, why this and what are the real benefits that make us as individuals confident, and of course messaging and leadership support, because it's all about empathy. It's all about human beings. That change is impacting all of us. So yeah, without the trust that organization knows in which direction we're heading to, it's really hard to expect that adoption will succeed. Okay. I think that in regards change management, we are covered. And now cherry on the top. I guess 12 examples is one thing, but I also thought about mentioning about something very, very minor, but important, like a extra lesson from the field. The wording we use matters. Speak business, not tech. Yeah. What is tenant, Edyta? What is orchestration, Edyta? How to understand token, or what do you mean by grounding? Adoption is made for business people, for the users. We are not doing this for ourselves, for the technology. We do it for people to educate how to work with the new technology. That is why we must adjust the language. So we must speak business, not tech. Please, no matter what kind of training, communication, workshop you are leading, watch out your wording, because we tend to speak techie, but business has no clue, and very often those people, they even afraid to ask. And we think that they follow when we start with tenant orchestration, whatever, like you see on the graph on the right hand side, but they lose the interest and they feel that they are not smart enough to understand, and the natural resistance to change, natural missing motivation is already there. So every time when you communicate with the users, please, please, please think about the wording, maybe even talk before with the group to understand what kind of wording do they use, and then adjust it during your training sessions and so that, because technical jargon, yeah, without providing explanations, doesn't really help yeah, to make you succeed. Okie dokie. So to summarize, so first of all, Copilot governance, if you don't have it in place, please take care of it now. Extremely important, especially when we talk about oversharing. Check Microsoft 365 adoption as first to boost your Copilot globally. It's a good moment to stop and check how users are benefiting out from the things they already have. Be ready for Copilot adoption project changes, especially the scope of work I have mentioned. Leave some buffer, leave some maybe empty spots to make sure that if something new pops up, you have a chance to fulfill and act ad hoc. Investigate use cases, extremely important. So all the scenarios from personas, from group of people, write them down and based on them prepare the custom training. Customize your training materials and content so you remember those files or whatever you are presenting must be customized to get the people attention. Start with key applications. So begin with the most popular Microsoft 365 apps as first. This is a base, and then expand the experience with others. Trip prompting workshops as a mandatory activity. If we don't know how to prompt, it's hard to expect that we'll be getting the good answers from Copilot. Ensure that you have solid communication in place. Don't forget about this. Have a plan, have timing, content types, receivers, senders, and so that. Remember that, one training, it's not sufficient because Copilot is changing all the time as well. This reinforcement, so adoption is like a constant process. If you haven't adopted Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat in the meantime, please do it because without paid license, we still have Copilot in place in most cases. Teach users how to benefit from Microsoft Learn resources. If you have other good resources, share those resources with them. So don't leave them just with the training content you have prepared. Change management and enablement are simply key. So if people, they don't know why, if we don't care about their fears, it's hard to expect that we're gonna succeed. And of course, avoid using technical jargon, adjust your wording because at the end, it's a business who benefits the most from the solution we have implemented. Okay, so what time is it? I think that we have now like 3 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. La la la.
Even 9 minutes if you want. I will unmute
Even
people
9
in
minutes.
case they want to
Okay.
talk, ask questions, share. Feel
Yeah.
free. Okay. Microphone are on.
Okay. Let me check. Yeah, it's a good. I see colleague of mine. Thank you, Michał. Yeah, do not copy materials from Microsoft, but adopt use cases relevant to your business. Very good comment. I fully agree with that. Especially that, yeah, Microsoft, of course, is providing a lot. It's a good grounding, but frankly, in most cases, 80% of the content I'm changing depending what's the customer, what are the needs, what's the sector, what are the personas. So yeah, the more custom, the better. I know it takes more time to prepare very custom material, but at the same time, you're gonna have less work afterwards. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it's similar to be influencer in social media. I think that, yeah, again, thank you, Michał, for this comment. Yeah, adoption in the company is similar to be influencer in social media. You need to be constantly visible, share a lot of content, make a buzz around your topic. This is the truth, but there is always a question who's going to do that. If you have champions, then of course they can do that, but we should remember that champions, they normally have other work to be done. So I encourage companies to really find a way of how they can be rewarded from the work they do. Maybe like extra vacation day or whatever, just to have this in mind, because yeah, if you're a consultant like I am, I'm at the customer side for 6 months, let's say, but later and that option is dropping because nobody's really able to take over. Okay, I scroll up. One of our user issues is the feeling that haves and the have-nots, because we are not giving licenses to everyone, not good enough for a license. B team, yeah. You're right, Stephen. It's happening very often. What I can see as a solution for that, but of course, it's like a strategic solution for the company. Yes, you can get license if you bring the case as first, so not just requesting for the license, but really clarifying why it is important and what kind of benefits it's gonna bring you. And the other one, I forgot, but I will remember it in a moment. So just, yeah. Would you share some insights, examples of measuring ROI of Copilot adoption? Yeah, this is always the case. The tricky one, everybody is talking about ROI, but at the end of the day, it's hard. So I would, first of all, at the very first beginning, of course, create a scenario or create a use case, the process we want to get better. Not just buying licenses and checking the dashboards, really thinking for the process perspective. So let me just think about any good example. Like a kind of because sure we can check different dashboards, but this is one thing. But I'm always struggling with the topic that dashboards are okay. Maybe they're a little bit about quantity as well, but mostly we are aiming to quality. Before we start any AI strategy, whatever, we should know from the beginning, together with stakeholders, what we want to achieve. What kind of process, what kind of use case we want to make better. And I think that this is the right approach. Yeah, it's a pity I don't have anything. So maybe Sona, I will, if we can stay connected on LinkedIn, I will find something from in my materials. But yeah, I would start with the real brainstorming, what we want to achieve as first, and then measuring and checking in the meantime if we're going in a good direction or something must be adjusted. Perfect. Let me scroll up a bit. Do we have something else? Yeah, open mic. Somebody wants to share any idea, whatever. Other lessons, if we all are here. Ah, lovely, Christopher. I'm going to join your session then as well. Lovely. Yeah, I hope that it was valuable, at least a bit for you. It was mostly practical content, so yeah, some reflections. If no more questions, yeah, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, of course. I'm always happy to share some insights or reflections, rate my session, and yeah, have fun, join other sessions. And thank you so much for being here with me.